All right, so I have the floor ground down. Man, I have to tell you, this is kind of the worst job I've ever done. It's been almost a week, I think. I think I started this last Wednesday, and it's Wednesday again. It's July 5th. And just getting all this ground down and dust management while you're doing that is such a pain. If I ever do it again, I am paying someone to do it. Someone professional with the expertise and equipment to do it all quickly and easily, because man, that was horrible. So it's ground down, and I put primer, these dark spots you'll see on kind of all these divots and little holes and cracks that I have on the floor. Right here, this is a large section, and as you can see, it's torn up pretty bad. Some places there, it's an inch, maybe even 1.5 inches deep, these kind of ground up gross parts. And I think that's because that's where an old coal furnace used to be that heated the house when it was first built, that fed into this old brick chimney, which I wish I could take out, but that's not going to happen. So when they took that furnace out, they really tore this floor up something fierce. And so I've got that all cleared out. I use compressed air and stuff to kind of blow all the loose parts out. And I'm going to do some self-leveling concrete. I'm getting ready to do that over there and fill this section so that it's nice and level and smooth again. And then I'm going to use that concrete to fill all these divots. This is all where like things were nailed into the concrete floor. So I went around and found all those that I could and put a little piece of red tape on them so that I don't miss any, and primed them all. And so I'm going to start with this big section here. When that's done, I'm going to fill all these little holes, little dips, little dents and divots in the floor. This is interesting. That hole right there, I don't know if you can see it, but there's wood down there. Someone put a stake in there, probably when they were pouring this side to keep their frame here. And they just left it there. It's just been in there decomposing forever under that linoleum that I tore out. So, yuck. So I'm going to fill that up too and get that nice. But I mean, sometimes you go through these old homes, you can't believe what the previous owners did. In these cracks, I'm going to use self-leveling cement caulking, kind of silicone-based kind of product, except for places where it's really big. Then I'll use the self-leveling cement instead. So I'm about to get to that. Now, I've never done this before. If I had, I wouldn't have done it again. So wish me luck. Something else I wanted to show you is this is the floor drain system. There's 2 floor drains in here. The cement's curing, so I put plastic on it. And this here is kind of a brick dam to prevent water from coming over and into this sump. I'm going to leave this open so that I can easily reach the P-trap there in the plumbing if I need to for some reason. So that'll keep the water as we squeegee it into those drains when we clean the floor from kind of getting in that open area. That's where we're at. We're real close. As soon as I've patched this floor and let it cure for a few days, then actually maybe even tomorrow. I looked at the instructions and it seems like, probably the day after tomorrow. Seems like it only takes like 16 hours to fully cure. So I'll test it. If it's moisture free by the day after tomorrow, that'll be Friday. I'll go ahead and start putting the epoxy down. Can't wait to get to that point. So we're super close. It doesn't look like a lot's been done. I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of long days of work on this floor just to get it to this kind of raw state. All right, I'm going to get to work. And hopefully next time you see this, it'll be nice and patched and maybe even epoxied. Okay, we are very close. Here's the patch job on the floor. I used some, it's called Rapid Set, I believe. It's kind of the self-leveling concrete patcher. for this section. And it's a lot nicer than it was. It's pretty smooth. Gonna have to rough this part up here a little bit because that might actually be too smooth. Yeah, that's where a little bit of water rose up from the concrete when I was dragging a broom across the rest to kind of roughen it up a bit for adhesion. So I'll grind that down just very, very slightly just to rough it up a bit. And then all these other little spots here, they're all filled up. Just about ready to go. The floor drains have been put in. I have them taped up right now because when I grind this concrete and put down the epoxy and stuff, I want to protect them. And then here's the brickwork. It's not very good. It's my first time ever doing brickwork like this, but it'll do the job. It's just to keep water from flowing into this section, which I'm going to keep open for access to the trap and the sump in here. So coming along, just about ready to put down the epoxy. I have a spiked roller, a screed roller coming in the mail. It'll be here tomorrow. As soon as I get that, then I'll be ready to put down the new floor. So I'll update you guys soon. All right, thanks. All right, everybody, so it's D-Day for me, the day I'm gonna actually put down the epoxy. This is a really big day for me. It's been, a week and a half of prep. It doesn't seem like I've done that much work on that floor, but let me tell you, it's a lot of work. Just grinding and grinding and grinding. And the main issue, if you ever do this yourself, and I wouldn't, I would pay someone to do this, really, honestly, after going through it, after a week and a half of doing this. But the real issue is all the dust. I mean, there's just so much dust. So you work a little while, it gets so much dust you can't see, and then you have to just dust management takes forever. And you can't see the floor, so you have to sweep it up after every time you work for a few minutes so that you can see, what you have to do next and what you've done. And it's just a big problem. Even trying to get it up with the shop vacuum and attach that or have that nearby, that filter on that vacuum just clogs so fast because the dust is so fine that it doesn't really work. So without some real specialized equipment, which I don't have, and I don't think the average person would have, I'm paying someone next time I do this all day long. But I'm gonna put down the epoxy. I've got everything I need. I've watched a lot of videos on how to do it. I've read the instructions over and over, and I'm gonna do it. I'm scared to death though, because after all this work, the epoxy sets in about 45 minutes or so. And so I have very little time to get it down there, get it spread out, get it how I want it before that's how it's gonna be. And I've never done this before, so I'm scared to death. I feel like a lot of pressure. So I've got all the information I can on how to do it, and hopefully I do it right. Anyway, I'm gonna get this camera set up so you guys can kind of hopefully watch the application of the epoxy on a time lapse if that works. I've never done that either. So a lot of firsts for me today. Anyway, here we go. right, about halfway done. Got another bucket to mix and put out, and yeah, I think I'll do that off camera. Do the same thing. You've already seen enough, I'm sure, and I'll check in with you later. All right, so we're done. Here's the new floor. It's pretty wet right now, but in about 12 hours or so, should be pretty nice and dry. I have a clear coat I'm gonna put on top of it. But so far from what I'm seeing, I like it, well, a lot more than anything I've had down here before, that's for sure. I've learned a lot about how to do this just because I went through it now once. So the second coat was a lot easier and quicker to put on. I kind of figured out how to squeegee it right and stuff like that. So yeah, there are some spots where the color chips are a little thick, but the kids helped me with that part, so that's okay. That's the price you pay for having fun with your kids. Yeah, I made some mistakes. I didn't realize every time I brushed up when I back rolled and used the paint roller, when I brush up and touch insulation on the edge, I didn't realize it would pick up a little bit of dirt each time. So there's spots here where kind of the dirt came and got on the cement a little bit, but I don't think you can really tell with the color chips. So learned that lesson. And then the other thing is some of these patches I did, or actually I don't think these are patches. I think that these were just holes that were so full of dust and stuff that kind of had hardened over the top that I just had no idea they were there. And so when I painted over, the hardened top popped off. And so there's a couple of those, but you know what? Whatever. It's a fish room, right? It's gonna be just fine. So anyway, that's where we're at. Oh, I better take the paint off those before that dries and becomes too hard to do that. Off those floor drains there. Anyway, making progress. I'm real excited. Tomorrow, what time is it now? I have no idea and I can't check while I'm taking a video, but tomorrow I will put on the clear coat. I need to let this sit for 15 hours and then I'll do the clear coat. And after that, next week, the HVAC guy is going to come and put the furnace up here. Yeah, I've got a little, my hands are kind of dirty from this project. A furnace here with an HRV to ventilate and keep this nice and warm down here, but fresh air still, so it's not stuffy. And it'll be nice to have that air exchange. I've always had just dehumidifiers before, and that helps, but it doesn't bring in fresh air. So I'm excited to have a room where fresh air is constantly being brought in. And then I'm waiting on one part, and then I can put up the tankless water heater over here and get rid of this thing. And I know that I just put down a floor, and when I take that out, there's gonna be this circle of unpainted concrete, but whatever, I'm okay with that. Again, it's a fish room. I'm sure I'll put something there that will cover it if I even care that much. But anyway, yeah, it's coming along, and I hope by the end of next week, I hope to have the furnace in HRV here and the water heater up here. And as soon as this floor hardens and I put the clear coat on, I wait a day for that to harden, then I can start putting the racks up. So even while I'm waiting for vendors and installers and stuff to put up some of this equipment, I can be working down here and putting racks up. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, it's coming along. Week and a half of work to just get to this point. Jeez. And not fun work either. I have to say, concrete work is not something I ever want to do as a profession, and I admire those that know how to do this right without creating dust storms. Anyway, that's the update, and yeah, I'm gonna clean off some of this equipment and take that tape off those drains. All right, bye. All right, it's a day later. This stuff's all dry now, and I can walk on it without any problem. So what I'm going to do now, I think it turned out pretty good. I like it a lot. Oh shoot! You guys see that? Yeah. Okay. You know, it's a pretty cool looking floor, if you ask me. It's not perfect. There's some spots in it, but hey, it's better than it's ever been, so I'm good with it. What I'm doing now is I'm going to put the clear coat on top of it, and then that'll kind of create like a rock hard clear glass kind of finish on top of this. And then I'm going to broadcast some aluminum oxide on top of that, which is basically a grit, so that when this gets wet, which it will, it doesn't get slippery. So that's my task today. I have the fans in the windows, that one blowing air in and those two blowing air out, because the clear coat stuff is pretty noxious. I'll be wearing a respirator and stuff, but I want to blow the fumes out of here as quick as I can, just so that we can get back into the house upstairs above us as quick as we can. By the way, this that we're looking at up above my head, this is the old fish rack. I took the spacers apart and just screwed this into the ceiling so I wouldn't have to completely tear it apart to get it out the door. So that was my solution, screw it to the ceiling. So it's up there for now until this floor is completely done. But anyway, the good part about the top coat, the clear coat, is that it's a one-part thing. So you don't mix two parts and then have only a set amount of time before it, bonds, and then you can't use it anymore. It's just a one-part solution. So I don't have that time pressure that I had as much with the epoxy. And it's pretty easy to roll on. You just roll it on like you would paint with the paint roller. So I'm gonna put the camera down and get to that and show you what it looks like after. All right, and we are done with the floor, and it looks pretty good. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a clear coat on top of this with all this tiny little texture in it. All those little bumps. That's the non-slip aluminum oxide grit. And we've got a floor, which I'm super happy about. So I'm glad that's done. Man, that was a long, kind of dreary project. And now it's time to start building some racks.